Hey guys, Ricky here, and thanks for tuning in this week to the DoD Contract Academy podcast. So this week we've got a different angle. I'm not interviewing anyone. This is episode 99. Episode 100 is coming up next week, and I have a really great guest, a big announcement, a really great solution that a good friend of mine and a company that I really enjoy working with and appreciate what they're bringing to the marketplace. They have something that they're going to be discussing with you. I think it's pretty exciting. So you can stay tuned. We'll hit that episode next week. This week, it's just me. So you're stuck with me this week, but I have what is going to be exciting for some of you, a topic about military veterans owning businesses, starting businesses that sell to the military, or military veterans working for companies that are selling to the military. Why this is a good idea, why you should consider it, why it works for me. And if you're not a military veteran, if you're a business owner, or maybe you work on a team, why you should be considering bringing people with military experience on your team. Now, you may be doing that already. I can tell you some of the best account executives and business developers I know, military veterans, and some of the best small innovative research companies I know, or innovative tech solution companies I know, are also owned by veterans. So there's a lot to unpack here, but let's get started. So why might you, as a military veteran, why might you consider this space? So if you're transitioning out, if you're retiring, if you just, went in for a couple of years, why are we thinking about selling to the military or working in this environment? Well, first of all, this could be a very lucrative place for you to be, right? This is a place where your experience as a military veteran is not only going to be valued, it's sought out, it's needed. So let's talk a little bit about some of the reasons you're valuable here. What are you bringing to the table? One is the military culture, right? So when we think about the Department of Defense, the military services, they're spending an enormous amount of money. In fact, usually half of the spending each year, half of the U.S. federal spending each year that goes to small businesses is usually through the Department of Defense. Now that fluctuates, that goes up and down, but fact remains that the DoD is a huge purchaser of goods and services from small businesses, and of course, large companies as well, right? So the big defense companies are always looking for people with military experience, and you have familiarity with that military culture, right? You understand the language. It's funny when my wife and I, whenever we get into an environment, whether it's going out to dinner or some people come over, and I have the ability to start talking with either someone I know or someone that just also served, she doesn't even want to be in the same room, because what she'll describe is, it's going to be acronym soup. It's like they're talking another language. I understand every fourth word. I don't even want to be there. And I get it, right? I've certainly been in situations like that in other industries, but the military in particular is bad about that. And it takes some time to understand the acronyms, the mission, just what you experience as a military person, what the person across the table from you has also experienced. What's the mission set? These are things that you understand natively because you served. And it's that in and of itself brings value to the table. Something else that you have as a military person that drives your value in this industry is your network. Some companies will hire you for who you know. Now, I have my own thoughts about exploiting your network. I think that you can build a network of people that can buy the type of thing that you're selling, the product, service, technology, whatever it is. It takes time to do that, though. You already come with a network and you know how to do things, right? You know how to get onto a military base. If you're retired, you can just show your retired military ID card and get on there, go to the office where the meeting's at. These are things that, there's some people out there that have never been on a military base. And I would say that's most of them, right? I've worked with companies where, I've taken them onto a military base for the first time, and they're just like, I'm blown away that this is amazing. So that is also valuable. There are also many programs. If you're going to start a business, right? If you want to start a business selling to the government, there are programs out there that can support you in starting your business. When you go through TAP, which is the Transition Assistance Program, leaving the military, there are programs that they can hook you up with to help you do a business plan, help you build your business. And on top of that, when we're talking about if your business is selling to the government, and I like to focus on the military for this podcast, but there are certifications that you can get as a military veteran for your business. If you happen to be service disabled, you can get the service disabled veteran-owned small business certification. And it's roughly around 3% of contracts are going to be set aside just for companies with your certification. There's also veterans own small business certification. And I think I'd have to check this, but I think that you can self-declare that you're a veteran-owned small business. Now, I know that you have to go through a certification process for SDVOSB. Even if you do self-declare it, if you see that option in there, just so you know, when you're in, because you register your business in sam.gov, but you can look for in there, you can say you're a woman-owned small business. You can say you're a service-disabled veteran, but you need certifications for woman-owned small business. You need certifications for SDVOSB, and you can go to the Small Business Association website, SBA website, and you can find all the information there. So, but that is something that will help you to win contracts. You can't rely on it solely, right? But that's something that gives you a little bit of advantage. We talk on, I've done, I don't know how many podcast episodes where we talk about exactly how you might use a certification to eliminate competition or influence the government, or, especially with the VA, with that specific certification, you'll see the VA in particular is going to award contracts to, they have a veterans preference, and maybe we'll do a podcast on that preference in the future. I think that's actually a really good idea. Now, you're going to have a perspective because you served in a certain part of the military. So let's say that, even though I'm talking about, let's say you're working for a company, you're looking to work as a business developer or an account executive, because those are going to be two positions for you as a veteran that are going to be high paying, typically, and they're designed to sell something, develop relationships, find opportunities with the government. Now, let's say you have no contracting experience or any of that acquisitions experience. Well, that's most of the military, right? You don't have to have that. You have the network, you understand the mission. So let's say that you are a flight line mechanic, right? And if you're looking at jobs working for companies that sell components that go on aircraft, or maybe something to do with an airfield, well, all of a sudden you become very valuable, right? You understand that mission better than almost anybody out there, certainly better than the company itself, right? They probably make a couple different parts or maybe a software tool, but you actually understand what they're doing on the airfield. You understand what that job is, and that's going to be valuable to certain companies that are in that particular niche, right? And you're not restricted to companies that only are doing something or selling something related to what you did in the military. I'm just giving you an example of how you can even be more profitable for them, right? You might have been a flight line mechanic and a software company is just looking, they want to, sell to the Air Force. Well, if you were in the Air Force as a flight line mechanic, you still have all that Air Force experience and connections and everything else. So you can learn the government acquisition stuff along the way. You can listen to our podcast and learn a lot of it. So there's that. Now, you certainly have skills that you've learned in the military, and that's, there are books and entire podcasts dedicated to how do you translate your leadership skills and what you've learned in the military to the business world. And they are transferable. And I'll also tell you this, you're going to learn a lot when you go to work for other companies and businesses, because there's things that those companies are doing that we don't do in the military, right? So you're going to learn a lot. You certainly bring a lot to the table. And that's one of the things that I just want to bring up about working in this area, going to work for these businesses. Let's stick on that thread for a second, right? When you're looking for a job as a business developer or an account executive, not only are you typically getting a salary, but also you could be getting a commission. So if you're good at your job, you think about how big some of these defense contracts are, that commission could be more than one commission check could be more than you've made in the entire lifetime of your military service. So, and that might be an extreme example, but it is absolutely a legitimate one. And it's one that I see more often than you'd think. But having a paycheck that's coming in as well as a commission check, that's pretty valuable. And, it's something I think you need to consider if you're a veteran. So probably, in addition to it being lucrative, that there's an opportunity for you. I think for me, because I did take like a 6-month break after I got out of the military, I really missed the people that I served with, and I missed the mission, and I missed the sense that we were really doing something that could impact the world and protect Americans, protect freedom, right? Kind of institute our values across the globe. And this is a way of staying in the game. And I love it because it keeps me constantly not only connected to my network of military guys and gals, some of which have retired now, some of which are still in, but I keep meeting new people, and I'm actually connecting with a lot of people that I haven't even seen in 10 years. As I go to things like the defense conferences and working with different companies, and it's really enjoyable. But sometimes they reach out to me to get advice on, different jobs, or if they have a business, how they can sell to the military. So there's lots of different reasons for getting in this space, but I just want you to know that you are, as a veteran, well suited for this in most circumstances. Now, what about everybody that's listening to this that is not a veteran, right? If you didn't serve in the military, well, if you're a business owner, for all of the reasons I just listed, hiring someone with military experience is extremely valuable for you. The best, without question, the best business developers, salespeople that I know have either prior military experience, and I mean salespeople, people that are selling to the military or to the federal government. They're either prior military or prior government. And one thing to consider is looking at hiring reservists and people in the Guard. And this actually brings up a whole new string of benefits that a military person is going to bring to the table, right? So even if you're applying for a job, this is something that you probably want to put on your resume or focus on, right? So you come with a security clearance if you're a reservist or you're in the Guard. And if you retired, you had a security clearance for however long you were in the military, right? That is valuable, especially now in these days, right? So there's some stuff in the news now that I don't like to see, and you probably don't either. There's a lot of individuals out there not taking care of classified information the way that they're supposed to, right? Now, I think that's the exception. The military trains us very precisely on what you can do and what you can't do. And that's going to be valuable for businesses. It's also going to be valuable that you come with a clearance, right? It's very expensive to obtain a clearance and maintain that on the commercial side. You're bringing that to the table. So if you're a company and you're looking to hire, if you get someone that's in the Guard or in the reserves, they have an active clearance. Something else that they have is they have an active network. They're not retired. They're going in, whether it's on weekends, couple of weeks a month, or maybe they're working active, for a month out of the year, as a reservist or a Guard person. That's great, because wherever they're working, they're maintaining their network. They're using their email systems. They are being briefed. They're going through training, and all of this stuff is going to pour into your company. And it's going to be very beneficial. That and everything that I just listed really makes a compelling argument for hiring military veterans and Guard and reservists to work in your business. It makes a very compelling argument, I think, for a military individual that's transitioning out, that's wondering what they're going to do, to start looking at business development, account executive. Even if you didn't think sales was in your, what you want to do, start taking a look at it, because, I really enjoy it. Sales isn't for everyone, and that's true. But it may not be exactly what you think it is. Selling to the government is a long process. It is not something where you're going to get on the phone with someone. You're not cold calling people and closing deals on the phone. That's not how the government puts businesses on contract. This is about developing relationships and fostering those relationships and providing value. So if that sounds a little bit better to you, and knowing that there's a paycheck at the end of that's pretty substantial, then this is something for you to think about. And then finally, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're getting out of the military, maybe you're retiring like, I did, you have a retirement check. This is a great time for you to start a business, right? Because you have medical insurance, you have a retirement check coming in, you might have a disability check coming in. And so that there's going to be funds coming in to support you and your family. Now might be the time for you to start a business. And I wouldn't advise you to just focus on selling to the government. I would say you probably want a government stream and a commercial stream, because that's really going to give you the most stable business. They can both offset each other. You can't make the government give you contracts, and you can't control the economy, right? So sometimes one's hot and sometimes the other isn't. Sometimes they're both hot, but at least with a government contract, they're stable, especially if you're on something like a 2-3 year contract over time, that you can kind of count on that consistent money coming in. And it depends on what you're selling, right? But could be very valuable for you to think about that federal side of your business. And like we said, there's lots of programs out there for you as a former military, retired military person, a veteran that you could take advantage of. So hopefully this has been beneficial to you. If any of you out there want to learn more about selling to the government, or if you have a business and you want some help with any of the areas, we're talking about business development, that piece of it, contract management, if we're talking about the cybersecurity requirements, which are extensive, and that we have people on our team that just specialize in that. So just specializing in doing the certifications and the self-assessments, getting ready for CMMC, FedRAMP, getting an approval to operate, the Platform One. So the list goes on. If that doesn't mean anything to you, there's some other episodes that we've put out that go into that in depth. But if you're looking for help with any part of the federal sales pipeline of that process, head over to dodcontract.com. We have some free resources on there. You can schedule a consultation if you're interested in some of the paid resources where we work with you, or if you're just looking for a course on, hey, what is the process, like the real process? How do I really find and influence requirements? How do I really target different offices in the government and sell my product or solution? We have a course that you could sign up for that's relatively inexpensive. And if you're a veteran and you want to take that course, shoot me a note, shoot me an email, and I'll give you a discount to get in there. Hope that helps. I'm really looking forward to next week's 100th episode. Stay tuned for that, and I will see you next time.